Pillar number one is market insight mastery. This I call the science of real estate. So why does this matter? Well, the market dictates the deal. Many of us, we always say, just start marketing. Where? Where are you going to start marketing? What are you going to start marketing for? Well, I want to do multifamily. I don't care what you want to do. I just don't. And the market doesn't care what you want to do. You have to do whatever the demand is for your market. So this is why pillar number one is where it's at. Nobody understands their market, which is why they struggle so much. So here's the framework. The framework is you want to find the median of everything. So what are the months of inventory? Not days on market, months of inventory. We want to look at what are the hottest price points, right? And then we want to look at what are the hottest zip codes. So I'm going to break each one of these down. So months of inventory, 6 months is a balanced market. 3 months or less is a hot seller's market. 4 to 6 months, it's an all right market. And 6+ months, it's a buyer's market. Why does this matter? When you are investing in real estate, when you're doing any type of marketing, this is going to matter as far as how competitive, how aggressive you are in your offers. If I'm a flipper and we're under 3 months of inventory in St. Louis, I think you guys are at under 2 months of inventory. Guys, if I'm a flipper, I'm full throttle. You understand? Because if I get a good deal, I do a good renovation, there's going to be a buyer ready to go for that. There's a lot of demand in that market. Now, if we're getting like San Antonio, that we're 4 to 6 months, it's an okay market. Now I got to be more cautious with my offers. Now I got to be a little bit more aggressive with making sure that I get a better discount because my property is probably not going to sell that weekend. It might take 2, maybe 3 months for them to sell. I got to factor that in. This is why I get people all the time that they come to me at networking events and they ask me like, hey, John, I had this flip and it's been, 2 months and it's not selling. As soon as we start running pillar number one, all of a sudden, what do we find out? You're competing against new builds and you're $10,000 cheaper and your house is 9 years old. So, but it's renovated. It looks just like the new builds. It doesn't matter. When somebody has a house that's 9 years old versus a house that's brand new and there's only a $10,000 difference, you're not competing. They're going to beat you every day of the week. You understand? So these are things that people just don't understand. They don't pay attention to. When you ask me, John, should I be flipping this house? What does pillar number one say? Should I be keeping this rental? What does pillar number one say? It's not based on my opinion, guys. It's based on what the data says. And this is the hardest part for most people to grasp. Now, in Texas, we had a point in San Antonio, especially where months of inventory, we went from like 2 months to about 7 months of inventory within 1 year. That was a massive swing. That affected everything. That scared the crap out of all the buyers. But because we know pillar number one, that did not scare us. We knew why that month of inventory had shut up. We knew that it was in very specific areas of the city where those prices went up because a lot of investors were speculating and then they got caught holding the bag. But in the areas that we invest in, we didn't struggle. We were still selling houses within the first weekend. And that level of confidence and knowledge gets you doing better deals. The next thing is the hottest price points. So you want to find the median first. What is the median price point for your market? Not the average. I know realtors love talking about the average, prices and everything. Averages can get knocked out by a very expensive home or very cheap home selling. A median is where the demand is. When you find the median price, that as investors, I want to be at the median price or below. Right? So if I'm at the median price or below, I know there's a tremendous amount of demand. I'm not going against the market here. So we go back to the same thing, but I don't like those houses. It's not about you. It's not about your feelings. It's about what's going to work for your market. The next thing is hot means speed, right? The hottest the price points, the fastest it sells, the quicker you're going to make your money back, the less risk that you're going to do. And then the way that we do this is by price brackets. So depending on what the median is, so in San Antonio, the median right now is about 300 grand. We'll start between 50 to 100 grand. What is the speed there? Between 100 and 150, what's the speed there? Between 150 and 200. So we try to find the price point that's selling the fastest. And that's going to tell us where's the demand in our market. Then we take this and we combine it with the hottest zip codes, doing the same exact thing. We're looking for what are the hottest areas. A good tool for this, guys, is actually realtor.com. They have a new feature that shows you the hot zones in your market, and it's been pretty good, pretty decent as far as how accurate it is. And it'll tell you which zip code are which areas are the hottest, the warmest, the coolest. So then you understand where you need to be. So speed, the hot zip codes is speed equals demands. And the other trick to this is whenever I see a really, really hot zip code, and then I see the zip code right next to it that not as hot, but the median price point is good, right? We're close to that median or below. Then what that means to me is affordability and demand. So that's the next market I'm going to start targeting before everybody realizes that that's the next hot market that people are going to be going into. And because it's so close to the hottest zip code, it's going to automatically attract the same buyers that are going to be buying there. They want proximity. So they're willing to go to that next zip code that's right next to it, but it's more affordable and they can find a house there. So we don't always jump into the red hot area. We'll go into the more lukewarm areas because it's going to make, it's still going to create tremendous opportunities for us. So know your market. You got to know your market. It's all supply and demand. All right. There's no guesswork here. There's no opinions. Now, pillar number 2 is strategic buyer arsenal. This is the art of real estate. So that was the science. This is the art. We make this mistake a lot as wholesalers, new people, and everything, is we just start doing a bunch of marketing. These people, your buyers, they're the ones that are going to tell you where you need to be investing because they're the ones that are going to be buying the deals from you. It's not, the same badass advice that I hear from so many people is if you find a good deal, the buyer is going to be there. What's a good deal? What's a good deal? Who can answer that question? I promise you guys, what a good deal is open to interpretation. There is no set rule on what a good deal is. Okay. So the strength of your buyers list is going to determine how much you will make on a deal. When there's no demand, it's not a deal. I don't care what your numbers are. I have had properties I would have to cancel contracts on that fit the traditional 70% minus repairs and all the nonsense. It just didn't matter because none of the buyers I had wanted that property. So it didn't matter what the numbers are. Now I know in specific areas of San Antonio that I really don't go after. If I happen to get a deal in that area, I'm doing 50%, maybe even less than that, because I know I'm not going to find a buyer for it unless it's a steal of a deal. You got to know what your buyers want. They're going to tell you what they want. So your buyers list is your profit lever. Now, they're going to tell you the strategies that are working. This is what trips a lot of people. So I want you to lean in and pay attention to this. We don't do ARVs and we don't calculate repairs. Anybody that's been in real estate for any amount of time understands this. ARV is an opinion. Repairs is an opinion. These are not facts. These are not set numbers. And where I lost so much money was I would calculate and run my numbers based on ARVs and repairs. And I will pride myself. I was so smart, guys. I was so smart. I would run these numbers and I was conservative with my ARVs and I was conservative with my repairs. And I will wholesale the deal for $5,000. And my buyer will call me a few months later, be like, yo, Jon, we killed it on that deal. We made even more than we thought we were going to make. And I'm like, wow, that's awesome. But I'm still starving over here. Right? Like I didn't make any damn money on that. $5,000, it went nowhere for me. But you made a killing, so I guess that's cool. And the reason for that is because I was trying to think for my buyers. If you guys have ever done this for more than just 5 years or so, you will know that everybody's got a different opinion on what ARV and what type of repairs they're going to do. Don't think for your buyers. Let them tell you where they need to be. You will be stunned at how many buyers are willing to pay much more than you originally thought what the house was worth. And then you can do reverse wholesaling. So reverse wholesaling works great when you have a motivated seller that they need to sell. You just don't know what to offer them because you're not familiar with the area and everything. But if you have a buyer that loves that area, all you do is reverse wholesale it, bring it to your buyer. What are they willing to pay? Whatever they tell you, go back to the seller, negotiate lower. You got yourself a fee there, right? So it's an easier way of wholesaling deals, but you need your buyers first. Here's the framework that we follow. to building your buyer's arsenal is locate potential buyers, go to networking events, all your networking events locally. We get too fancy in our business and we don't feel like we got time for networking. I promise you that is by far the biggest mistake you're ever going to make. You want to go to networking events and you want to network with people all the time, and not just the people you know. You network with everybody there. Meet buyers. So you want Facebook groups. I join all the Facebook groups. Every market is pretty much the same. There's only one or two that really matter. All the other ones are just noise. So figure out which one those groups are. And then other wholesalers. I typically don't, need to JV with other wholesalers, but when I was starting off, I JV'd a lot. It was one of those things that it's just better to JV with a wholesaler than lose a deal until you build your buyers list. And guess what? JVing with wholesalers, how you see what buyers they're using too. It's a sharing world, right? So let's share the buyers. Part number 2 is you want to qualify your buyers. So we vet them. We ask them very specific targeted questions because I want buyers that are doing 7+ deals a year. Somebody that's doing 7+ deals a year is a buyer that can take on a deal at any time. Anybody doing less than that is going to be a buyer that can take on a deal depending on where they are in their business. That's not a dependable buyer. Okay. We call those second tier buyers. They're good. They're just not dependable. You want VIP buyers, people that are always buying. You want to store them in your CRM and you want to follow up with them weekly, if not every other week, because buyers' criteria are always changing. You need to stay on top of it. And I promise you, in your market, most wholesalers don't do this. You're going to stand out tremendously if you were to do this. And then you want to leverage your buyers. How can you leverage your buyers? You don't know how to analyze a deal? Call one of your buyers. They'll walk you with you. They'll walk you through the deal. That's how I got started. I had buyers come, even though I had a tremendous experience in construction, knowing how to do the work is not the same as knowing what work needs to be done. As a contractor, I knew how to do it. I just didn't know what needed to get done. To me, I would go into a house and to me, everything needed to be replaced. And my investors will walk in, they're like, no, we're going to paint this. We're going to keep that. We'll just leave that there. I didn't know those things. So you can take your buyers, walk them through it, and they can analyze deals for you. You can send them a ton of pictures, ask them questions. They'll tell you where they need to be at. Kind of like the strategy I told you about reverse wholesaling. And then have your buyer next lined up first. Have your next buyer lined up first. There we go. Got to read my own words. I didn't mention this, but I did drop out of high school too. So, reading and all that wasn't a priority for me. But you got to have your buyer lined up first. Everybody starts with marketing. No, you need your buyers first. Your buyers are going to tell you where you need to be. So let's put it all together. This is, what market are you in? Are you in a hot market? Is it a cold market? It doesn't matter. There's no such thing as good or bad. I don't believe it matters if the market is hot or cold, if that's good or bad. If the market is getting colder, I like that market better because that means there's a lot less competition because people don't know how to structure good deals. Most wholesalers, most people reaching out to sellers are very, very lazy. They don't take time to understand the seller, connect with them, really solve problems. So it's not much of a competition for us. In hotter markets, everybody tries to buy real estate. So you have a lot more competition, but you also get to move properties quicker. So you got that give and take, but I don't believe that there's a good or bad market. Then you want to figure out what's working. What's working is your buyers. They're going to tell you what strategies, owner finance, buy and hold, fix and flips. These are the strategies that are going to be working. They're going to tell you what works and what doesn't. You understand? And then you go after those, supply and demand. Your buyers are telling you what they want. You supply what they want. Stop trying to reinvent the wheel. You understand? I meet people that tell me, I want to do vacant land. And I'm like, have you done vacant land before? No. Does your market have a lot of vacant land? Is there a market for that? I don't know. So what are we talking about here? Yeah. Figure out your market first. What does your market want? And then supply that. It's going to win every single time. It's the basic rules of economics, supply and demand. And then lastly, who are your solid buyers? All right. Who are your solid buyers? Who are these people that also another criteria with buyers is I don't want them generating their own deals. I don't have buyers on my list that do their own marketing. The buyers that buy from me buy either from other wholesaler or real estate agents because they're the ones that are going to pay premium for a deal because they cannot generate their own deals. So they got to buy whatever's in the market and they usually have the money to pay for that. So those are the buyers I look for. So again, supply the demand.
Thanks for listening to the DealMachine Real Estate Investing Podcast. Please leave us a review and follow along wherever you're listening to your podcast.